Let's Play! Hi guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Analogue, a hate story. So, now, let's continue reading some of these logs. We read the one in block 6. Is there any more? Nope. We're on block 9, The New Heir by Kim Young-suk. When he died this year, my father was an absolute nobody. I don't want to say this to disrespect his honor. It's the complete opposite. He knew it. That was a far worse fate than he had ever deserved. It wasn't until I was maybe 16 that I even realized we were supposed to be from a noble family. Certainly, we had never had much of means. Father was a minor official in the interior decks, and spent his days dealing with minor peasant disputes. Of all things, peasant disputes. With the poverty we lived in, no wonder it really never sank in that we were of noble blood, not until I met the main family for the first time. They were proud, despite the fact that I now realize that they too were suffering from our same lack of royal flavor. But I could tell the difference. They haven't given up. Their son was still alive at that time, and even though he was a child half my age, I couldn't believe his confidence. It put us to shame. Absolutely put us to shame. But that son died later that year, and my father died just a few months ago. I didn't know what we were going to do, but Mother managed to convince my sister's husband to adopt me into the main Kim family. I don't think it took too much. So, now I'm their heir, just like that. Kim Jung-soo's adopted son. Not that I have the time or position to be proud, but having spoken sincerely with my new father, I think we're on the same page. I'm going to study furiously, and I'm going to become a scholar official. What I didn't tell him was my ambition. I won't settle for any peasant jobs. I'll be better than that. I'm not going to stop until I manage to fulfill my father's dream. High Magistrate. I won't settle. I will not settle. I think Jung-soo expects me to disappoint him, but I damn well will not. If I'm the heir of the Kim family, I'm not going to let him down. He wants prosperity, I'll give it to him. More importantly, I'm never going to let any other Kim's son, like the son of a Kim, not a name it's awkward. Never going to let any other Kim's son feel like his family doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Never again. I swear on my ancestors, never again. So it's kind of hard to imagine that this is actually all taking place in a ship. This isn't like when I first imagined this, it was like some little Asian village. You have to realize, this entire thing is taking place inside of a ship. So, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about. Marital wow, that's a word. Dimensions by Ryu Jae-hwa. To the woman who will marry my husband. Oh. That's kind of a paradox. Unless it's to her son. Well, no. Well, you'll see. But please, do not think that all of this is meant to say you will be unloved. You may be a second wife, but you are still the daughter of a noble house, and that is a precious gift to the Ryu family. My husband has faith that you will bring him a son, and this means all the world to him. Nor am I jealous, for you will relieve a heavy burden on our house, and for that I am grateful. As proof of his affection for you, let me share with you one secret, which I've been permitted to tell only you. In honor of you, my husband, in his capacity as Captain and Emperor, has permanently changed his Min password to your birth name. My new sister, you will be brought into the Ryu family, not as a mere lowly woman, but as a symbol of power in the inner chambers. You will not only represent the continuation of the Ryu bloodline by providing him a son, but your name will represent the power of the captain's computer. Understand this, pale bride. Your duty may be great, but you will be loved. So this pale bride, it's interesting to think about. You'll see. Pale bride is probably, well, that's really all we have to do right now. So she has nothing new to say. Is that it? Did we read everything? There must be one we can show her now. So let's show her the pack of idiots then. See if she has anything to say about it. So here's the background, I suppose. There were two major noble families on the Mugunghwa. The Kims were the big one, as I'm sure you can see. The Smiths were the other major family, and I'm afraid I can't really tell you much about them. They were the most important family on the ship until just before the end. The High Magistrate was a Smith until the very last year even. I can give you a little bit for them for reference so you can see who the Kim men thought the big enemy was. The Smiths really didn't matter. The Smiths didn't really matter much at the end, so I don't know much about them. I certainly never met any of them, so I'm just going off what I've read. Here, this should give you an idea of what I mean. So she actually gives you a bunch of new stuff too. I think before we continue reading, we will show her all of the things that we get all of them and can do big read sessions followed by big read sessions versus big discussion sessions, if you will. Oh, written by Mute? Oops, I'm sorry. I really don't know how that got in there. Yeah, don't pay any attention to that. Sorry. None of that really matters. I'll just go ahead and remove that. Really, I'm not normally this much of a klutz, I swear. Okay. Well, she removed that one, so we can't get back to that. The new heir. Oh, what do you have to say on this one? Well, I suppose he could give you more on Young Suk. I don't know, I don't think you really find him very interesting, but here, you can see for yourself. Okay. And finally, we'll go to the... Oh yeah, there's a lot more there. We'll check out this one. Of course, the last person to hold the title as Captain Emperor of the ship was Ryu Lin Ho. Which of the captain's wives do you want to know more about? We have the Pale Bride and we have Jue Ha. The Pale Bride sounds really interesting. Let's get more on that. Very well. She wrote a lot, so this is going to be tricky to filter. I guess I'll start at the top. I'll let you figure out what's important. Oh yes, there's a lot on it, but it is all really interesting, so... Oh, apparently we can show her that one again. And because it's still blue. Which captains you want to know about? Well, let's get Jue Ha now. Very well. I don't have that much on her. I think you'll find relevant, though. Let's see. How about this? So, now let's go back to reading. This is the game, basically. You know, you do a little bit of reading, you do a little bit of talking with Hyunei. Like, there's a new one available here. You're trying to find out more about the Pale Bride, right? You should try showing me a message from the person you'd like to read more entries by. Oh, sounds good. That's what we've kind of been doing. Well, let's continue with Block 4. Here's Contempt by Usujin. Or Oh-So-Jin, rather. Despite having hardly shown their faces the entire time I've lived in the Smith house, the second branch of the family has taken it upon themselves to visit again, a week after we were forced to endure their smug eye-rolling at the funeral. Of course, it would be impolite to turn them all away at the door, no matter how poor taste their timing was, so what other choice do we have but to let them in? Husband wanted nothing to do with them, being distracted by Zheng Mi, and the mother-in-law had been hiding in her room, leaving it to me to entertain them. Of course, as soon as I had sent their son to go see our daughter, cousin-in-law Kyung Sam made it quite clear that it was not that sort of visit. His wife just sat there, silent, while he ripped into me. I couldn't write down all his words, it was simply one line of abuse after another. Apparently, we were to be blamed for seeing Kyun leaving before they showed up, for wearing the wrong mourning garb, for my husband's shocked reaction at his brother's death. In fact, we were blamed for his death itself. All he kept shouting about was how he was embarrassed for the family. It was that a noble man of the Smith house had been allowed to drink himself to death. As if the real tragedy was that it looked bad. I might not have felt bad about saying Jung dying, but the rest of the family did. To hear such words making light of their loss was appalling. Yet, he kept going, shouting awful thing after awful thing, until finally the most unexpected thing happened. Mother-in-law entered the room. "What's going on here?" she asked. He stood up. "I was just passing on a message to son's wife about his disgraceful conduct, since he won't show his face again." Then he added, "I'm embarrassed to be a Smith right now. Do Do you think people don't know about our family's shame? Do you have any idea how much of a fool I look like? I never saw a more terrifying expression in someone's face. She just glared at him. Finally she said, "Yes, but you certainly do not, or you would have lowered your voice." It took him a moment for that to register. Then he was just shocked. But mother-in-law wasn't done. "Please leave," she said. "Now." They stared at each other for a good while. Mother-in-law naturally won, and with a scowl, Kyung Sam and his family departed. When they had left, I turned to her. "Thank you," I said, and she just shook her head in disgust and exited to her own room without another word. So what do we have on that? Sorry, I don't really think there's anything else about them you find relevant. Oh, okay. Here we have By Example by Smith King Sam. Giving up any attempts at convincing the main branch of the family to get their act together, as clearly speaking reason to any of that pack of idiots is a fool's errand. Now I can only hope that their self-destruction is quick, such that when it's my son's turn to pick up the pieces of the Smith name's reputation, he'll be able to do it as soon as possible. He seems far less worried about it than I am. Of course, he is only a child, but that boy is mature for his years, and perhaps there's wisdom in his calmness. All we have to do is be better than them, right? He asked while I was enraged about the handling of the funeral. Isn't that what gentlemen do? Lead by example? He's right, of course. As a noble family, we're supposed to be an example to the middle classes, and the commoners and the slaves. Perhaps so too must we serve as an example to the family of the High Magistrate and his brother. Perhaps things will not be so doomed for my son after all. It will be hard for him, of course, if the main branch family continues on this path of decay. But if any boy will grow up to be able to put things right, I believe it is him. Here Comes the Fall by Smith King Sam. Here comes the fall. At least nobody's gonna say that I didn't see this coming. News that Sang Min had gotten sacked just came in, which is definitely the death of any respectability in the family. Temporary leave, it's described as, but I think it's obviously a political move on the part of the emperor. I think I've got a pretty good idea of what he's playing at, too. He's hoping that making a move against Sang Min will push him over the edge, make him do something indefensibly stupid, and use that as an excuse to shuffle him off for good. It's a good plan. It'll work. Meanwhile, the Kim family seems to be on the rise, getting ready to fill the gaps by our collapse. Now it's all up to my son. If he's not able to rebuild after all this, then the whole family is doomed to permanent decline. Everything rides on him. Now, I can understand if you're a little confused as to what's going on. This is why I said I didn't think I might want to do this, because you really do have, like, different stories and stuff, and you are supposed to kind of read it and piece it together. However, for the sake of the Let's Play, I can't really do that much. I can show you the family tree here if you need. As we can see here, you know, it's not the easiest. There's actually multiple things, so official genealogies don't list women normally. Wives are noted by their family names, and daughters are often omitted entirely. These are the relevant parts of what I was able to piece together from records. As far as the official genealogy is concerned, Young Suk is the heir of Jun Su and was adopted in 317. Names in red are women. It means that the name is forever unknown. So, yes, this game does have a sort of theme that you could probably detect. However, we will get into it more. As I said, it's a little confusing at first, but as you keep reading, it's so good. Once you start to understand, it is a piece together kind of thing. Here we have The Month of Good Fortune by King Kim Jung-soo. The second month of the 319th year was one of great fortune for the Kim family. While on official business, the captain and Emperor Ryu confided in me that he wished that I had a daughter of marriage age to give him, to take as a second wife. His wife had been unable to provide a son and was becoming increasingly concerned that she never would. At the start of the month, I had no daughter in my family to give. My only son, Young Suk, was still without child. Yet, it was a perfect opportunity. The This may sound fantastical, and I swear it is true, but I swear it is true. Passed on through the generations of the main branch of the Kim family is a giant egg of translucent luster, such that one could see the form of a sleeping child inside. She is known as the Pale Bride for the inscription on the egg, and she is entrusted in our family to be awakened during a time of great prosperity. Yet, as any man knows, prosperity is seized, not waited on. A daughter to provide the emperor with a son would elevate the family above all the other noble house once and for all. Considering this, I promised the emperor that I did have a daughter who would be soon of marriage age to present him. This is a harder game to read than the last. I think because it's not scrolling. That's the thing. Then I smashed the egg, such that the Pale Bride passed through the Kim family for years could be adopted as my own daughter. She's a strange child, but will make a fine wife for the emperor. What good fortune this means. I'll show the message. I'm afraid nearly everything that man wrote was of very little value. It all reads the same. It all reads like that. Boring, stiff, obnoxiously patriarchal. Are you sure you really want more from Kim Jong-soo? Well, we want all of them, so why not? If you insist. Oh, she doesn't seem very happy. Very well, I've added the other relevant entries from him. I'll take caution from you taking them seriously, though. Okay. I think we have time for one more, maybe. If I actually click it, be nice. Broken Promise from the Pale Bride. Dear Diary, last week I woke up from cryostasis. Before I went in, Father had promised me that when I woke up in the future, they'd have medicine again, that I'd finally get better, that I might not see him again, but his descendants would make everything right. But the future broke his promise. I'm scared and confused and I don't know what happened. I think there was a big disaster while I was in stasis or something. Everyone's so uneducated and stupid. Father and Mother were kind of dumb at times, but the guy who woke me, he might be named Kim, but he's nothing like them. Father was wrong. Nothing's better. The future sucks. The Pale Bride did keep an extensive diary. I'll try to provide you some more entries. Okay. I think that should just be enough for now. Yes, next time we will continue piecing together the puzzle of Analogue, a hate story. Again, I just want to say, if you don't get it now, that's fine. It took me super long to understand what even's going on. Before I go, I actually have something to say. Between part 1 and part 2, I read online that actually they're making an extended cut of this game called Analogue, a hate story, Hate Plus, or maybe it's just called Hate Plus. But it's actually going to continue this, and I'm so excited, because I gotta say, the universe of this story is so great. And again, you might not get it now, but you'll see. I think it's better than Don't Take It Personally, Babe. It's just, you sort of have to get there. So just, I can understand if you're confused. I will see you guys next time. Ciao.